with you people this very evening. It is equally a pleasure meeting Cameroonians of all walks of life on this particular day, a remembrance of history that was made by those who constructed the nation. And equally, history will let us to know that a lot of individuals, those who make up Cameroon, that fought heavily for the independence of the nation, today we celebrate them, but then to the most pitiful situation, none have been remembered in the streets and towns of the same country, no mention of those who fought for this particular unification. We equally think that within 50 years of independence, where we were coming from and where we were going, a lot of individuals have failed to take the plans of this nation. It is equally believing that in 1982, a country that was joyous, a country that all felt together, a country where we think meritocracy was given its place, a country that tribalism was not given, in fact attacked ruthlessly, explaining why the present President of the Republic took over from the inheritance, the founding president, Amadou Ahidjo, without stress. All Cameroonians from all walks of life accepted his leadership and believed very strongly that he was going to be one to answer the call of many Cameroonians. Cameroonians have known a witch. Remember, in 1961, it was called the Independence and Reunification. And in 1972, we called the United Republic of Cameroon. It is a controversy because in 1984, the same nation we call the United Republic of Cameroon was changed by a presidential decree, and nobody gave reasons why it happened the way it did. Are we really united? Yes, Cameroonians are together. The presence of the two official languages, the presence of 250 different ethnic groups gives us the idea that the nation is united. 250 different languages, Cameroonians living in one way or the other, but then I will equally tell you that the role of the army has been one which we have questioned all over the time. And I will tell you this sincerely, that 50 years after independence, we see a Republican army that has become a party politic army, which at times sees Cameroonians tortured, flogged, when they don't defend the interests of a particular leadership. A country where we all aim to live at peace with one another, a country where few has taken hostage and think that they do it for the name of the Republic, and then when you don't align with them, you are said to be unpatriotic. And so the word patriotism, which presently represents by a monument in Yaoundé, that I love my country, Cameroon. If you love our country, Cameroon, I will tell you that 50 years after unification, top leadership, the top management, top government officials still spend holidays abroad. Top government officials still live consultation in qualified medical centers abroad. Where have we gone wrong? 50 years after independence, we are just talking of the high cost of living. Others still living flamboyantly. The basic and the common Cameroonian is left to fetch for himself. 50 years after national unity, Cameroon is unable to touch the four corners of its own very triangle. It was not the situation in 1972. There was nothing like Boko Haram. There was nothing like the Anglophone crisis. And again, there was nothing like the indigenous rights of the people. Where have we gone wrong? It means that the state that was given to those who took the leadership after the founding elite have been unable to meet up with the demands of the 1972. 1972, Cameroonians loved their country. In 1972, Cameroonians could eat very well. In 1972, there was no Bamileke, there was no Bassa, there was no Iwondo. That has transpired today into what we call regionalization or equal regions sharing. Cameroon has become a cake where we think a more better group should be given the better share of the cake and others should not feed from that very plate. 1972, can we really stand and say we defended the interests of Cameroon, not that of our tribe or our own personal egoism? Can the military sincerely talk to Cameroonians? We protected you, we did not torture you, we did not kill you, we stood by your side. The army is the army of the people, and we believe very strongly that there is nothing throughout the world. I have not seen an internal crisis in any country where the armies fight and kill their own very people. There is a need for a revision. 1972, there was no war. Today, Cameroon experiences one of the most greatest attacks, Boko Haram.
Yes, just like you're saying, Doctor, there's no nation without challenges. There's no nation without internal conflicts. But Cameroon is one of which, for 50 years, we can say at least a lot has been done to try to manage that. We understand that no nation, we want to say it's little lenient in public.
Yeah, it is. What I'm saying here is, we inherited a state in 1972. And if you think very well, President Bobba became president in 1982. When we were handing this particular nation to the head of state, you will find that internal conflicts were minimized. Cameroonians, like I said, could eat well. Cameroonians could feel belonging. I remember my old father could stand at the hoisting of the flag. I mean the flag, the anthem. Once it is sung, everybody must stand at that position no matter what you carry. It gives you that spirit of patriotism that you are concerned. Some people, when you look today, the flag should be hoisted in the morning and brought down in the evening. But when you look, what do we do today? A flag is hoisted once and only removed when it is turned down, thought to replace a new flag. Do we really respect the nation we inherited? The military is made to put order in all these places. Go to the chief palaces, go to some governors, SDOs, and even administrative offices, and ask yourself if those flags standing there still maintain the great red, yellow, and the golden star. Some have become a color you might not even identify. This means that the sense of control and those symbols that kept us together are no longer even admired or even looked upon. Every country has its squabbles, but when the squabbles of a nation takes you 6 years and you believe that by implementing a force of killing will bring an order, we made that error. So many people will tell you that there was the fight against the UPC movement for the wars before independence within the Francophone side of the territory. We killed our own brothers. We killed our own sisters. And today we are advised to live with the same people we have served. That is not Republican. We saw the Arab movement in Tunisia. We saw it in Egypt. You could imagine the present president in Egypt told the president, Hosni Mubarak, there is no need to use a gun against an Egyptian. And if you can't find a political solution, then Mr. President, you step down. And that president did the same. It is the same in many other regimes. Rather than slaughtering and killing people, we have the solution. We know what to do. When you look at the south, get to Samalima, somewhere, Bamileke homes were tortured, burnt, and looted. We are still waiting the justice to take its course. Does that announce and fit national unity? When others feel that they are more concerned and others don't or made to understand that the nation does not belong to them. We have heard statements like le manger de tarot ne peut jamais être au pouvoir. What do you think of those circumstances? We are saying, I'm saying that we should be sincere if we are honest. We should sanction things which come from people. Some people have been labeled dogs, others have been called rats, and nothing has been done at the level of the state. If a state needs to be stand a state, there is a need for the justice system to be independent, and that we let Cameroonians know that all Cameroonians have rights. Every region count. Every human being in Cameroon count. What happened if you can consult abroad, and the poor Cameroonian cannot consult abroad?
Okay.
50 years, no reference hospital for a common man. Then, what do you think of national unity?
All right, Doctor, thank you very much. At 50, it's time for us to maybe keep the past behind and possibly to 101 in Yaoundé ahead of today's celebration as Cameroon marks 50 years of national unity. Back to you, Dr. Ako John. When you look at Mali, you look at Libya, and you look at the hand of the West in destabilizing countries in Africa, and look at how far Cameroon has come. It's a time for us to appreciate the fact that no part of the territory Cameroon has been lost, and Cameroon military has been doing much, because this day particularly it's focused on the role played by the military in preserving national integrity.
Yeah, if I sincerely equally want to emphasize we cannot live here to be as praise singers. If a nation is constructed, what we have done so far, we need to appreciate it. But if we need to move further, we need to see from where we failed. We need to see from where we have failed so that we can strengthen the future. Where we have constructed already, I believe very sincerely that if the former president, the founding fathers in 1972 coming to Cameroon now, will tell us that we had one state university and today we have 10 of them, and that formerly we had one Ahmadou Ahidjo Stadium, and now in the same town of Yaoundé we have more than 5 football infrastructure. This is not what we are saying, because we have it already with us. If we need to do better, this is where my problem is. And I will not really have more to do that Cameroonian has trained, and that since we have trained already, it means it's enough for the country. When you look at Cameroon, the same battle we fought with Nigeria on Bakassi was fought by all Cameroonians. No disputing that fact. When you go on the, I said while I was here, the true war Cameroon has to fight in this particular time, we have the war against Boko Haram. And that we know sincerely that among us, we know what are internal squabbles. And internal squabbles is the force of the police. To some extent, we have the force of the gendarmes. Those who are ruling, the political leaders of this nation, know exactly what we are talking about. And that when we take a fighting within, it is bound to create division. If we take a fighting that is meant to deneutralize or kill a fellow Cameroonian or burn a Cameroonian village, which we have seen, this is where I believe we should be talking. We might not be talking of villages and towns and bridges and even roads that the military have constructed. That we witness it is positive. Should we equally accept here that even the respect for the military by these same politicians have been a problem in Cameroon? When a single military is killed, a French military, one is killed in Mali, you find it that once that corpse is brought to Paris, the president is discharged already to witness the removal of the corpse and the burial. When have you seen the top administrative official of this government attending the burial ceremony of a military officer? Which means
we have the military represented.
I'm just saying it is not represented. This man is the first army of the state. I mean, in issues of the military, there are things we don't clown about. There are issues we don't even take around that somebody represents me. When a single military is killed, he represents the nation. And the leader of that military is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. We are talking in the light that normally in a state that is well ruled, we have not seen one incident. We have not seen one where Francois Hollande briefed off a meeting in New York to pick over 3 or 5 French military killed in the Sahel to take them back to Paris. It gives us a sense of responsibility that we recognize is that. It is the level at which the state has become so rotten. I'm telling you honestly, there is what we call the morale on the side of the military. Somewhere in the Catalonian struggle, I saw the military people who came out to tender sincere apology for using excessive force. I mean, excessive force on the civilian. It gives you the morale of the environment that yes, the force they used, they were not really supposed to do so, but did that in an internal crisis. If Cameroon had a force like we did in Bakassi when we fought Nigeria, nobody criticized the army. And we are thinking that when we fight a common enemy, which is an external enemy, the forces are different. Among us, can we settle this issue otherwise? Yes. On the other side, my brother said Egypt is a military government. Yes, a military government because the civilian failed. And it is the responsibility, I said, a lot of decisions at the level of the political circles in this country has been left gone and considered because those who ruled and take the decision in a political domain affect military activities. And the people who can bring in this order at times are military agents. A military advisor did that to the foreign president of Algeria. And equally, I'm telling you that Al-Sisi did that to Hosni Mubarak in Egypt. And these are all top commanders who win. In Burkina Faso, you can imagine what happened when Blaise Compaoré attempted that there was a need to use excessive force on the people. It is still the military commander that said the demand of the people are legitimate, which means somewhere we must, as a military officer, separate between military options and political options. When we make such options, the civilians are watching and they know what we are doing. Now, Cameroon, 50 years on, the military is great. They're doing wonderful things. We have upgraded. We have part from Asia. We have moved to B. We have innovated. We had new economic agreement. We have new military agreement. You can just see from the photos that a lot of military equipment are coming in. Are this military equipment made to be used against fellow Cameroonians? The force of the military is against foreign intruders. The force of the military is not for Cameroonians.
Yeah,
we are just...
When we're talking about that, we have the crisis in the Northwest. That's just one of the crisis that Cameroon has to face.
Don't say another crisis. Say an internal problem which politicians would have solved. It is a political problem which needs to be solved.
Yeah, which is not the only problem that Cameroon, of course, is facing at the moment.
We have Boko Haram. I said everybody fought Boko Haram.
Boko Haram is still in place. It's not gone away.
I said we fought it together. Nobody. No international organization or human rights criticized. But for the incident of a woman that was shot and killed with his 2 children. That one, it was a backfall of the military action. Nobody will deny that. And when it happened, what I'm saying is, when such lapses are occurred, when they occur, we should not think like, when we lost a single civilian because of a common error, there's an outcry. and we should not take it as a joke. When maybe a school is touched, like we are seeing, the military is trained. So how does the military explain that a school or a church or people were taken out from their homes, bundled out, like we find in Gabu, and that we celebrate about it? No, that is not what we are saying here. My option is that what we are doing in the Northern and Southwest is a political agenda, and that it needs a political solution. So many people have said it, that we should organize it, we should do that. You remember, Toomey wanted a talk among the people to get us into another direction, but he died. That did not happen. You remember Kofi Annan? People will tell you that it is a Cameroonian problem and needs a Cameroonian solution. Nobody will refuse that. It is 6 years gone. Can we do better? Were these people happy before that? Where have we gone wrong? That is what I'm saying. That's why we are celebrating 50 years. Where did we go wrong? It's a question we should ask. Where did we go wrong? If we cannot answer the question where we went wrong, then we have failed. And sincerely, I still insist, no territory has been lost. Good. All Cameroonians are thinking and finding hard. It is the only time in history where the diaspora feel not connected to the country. Diaspora, many are unable to come back to the country. We might have not lost a territory, but we have lost Cameroonians who feel they are no longer Cameroonians for a foreign nationality. Do we equally think about that? How many Cameroonians have left their country and they are unable to come back? Can we address such issues? It Cameroon need to develop. If you look at a country like Ethiopia, you see the role of the diaspora in the development of that country, you find it different. People should feel concerned wherever they are. I cannot sell a Cameroonian nationality for a foreign nationality because the forces on the ground don't receive or accommodate. Because maybe I sit over, I made criticisms, and we think those such criticism against the state. Some extent, like people who say, there is tolerance in military activity. The moment you don't touch a property, you don't touch a life, the military will tolerate you. That's why you go to somewhere, people even hold military on the jacket. He does not move. His character doesn't change. This is the action we are talking about in the military. That when you find civilians who are armless, who remains by their speeches, it is their right to talk. That is, talk what you can, carry on the strike the moment you don't destroy property or take a human life. The military has the temperament to contain you. You can imagine that is what we call use of excessive force. Force should be reciprocal in every circumstance. When you use such a force in an environment which was thought to be a civilian environment, we need to keep on educating. If 1972, if 1982, if 1990, political crises have not divided the country, if we take the last 10 or 20 years, Cameroonians feel not belonging until we have the tension we're having. I should not be happy that it is 6 years I've not been to Manfe. I should not be happy that I cannot jump to Limbe as I used to jump, or come out of Boya anytime I wish to come out. We should not sit and say the situation is better. What we have done, positive. What we have failed to do is a negative. Can we correct that? It is my worry. We cannot say the military is doing nothing except you are academy. You want to be an utopian, not seeing what has been done. But I'm telling you that give salutes, a lot of salutes for those who have done it, but I still insist, give them moral respect for the military. Let politicians play their role, and let the military give a demarcation of the limits of political role within military activities.
Alors, Maître Janvier, engagement de paix et à l'ordre à l'intérieur du pays par l'État du Cameroun, qui va de pair avec la volonté manifeste de contribuer au maintien de la paix chez les pays voisins. 50 ans de l'unité nationale, quel bilan en termes de contribution de l'État du Cameroun dans la lutte ou alors dans la protection, la stabilité des États voisins?
Je pense que l'occasion nous est donnée une fois de plus